Hi Cancer, and welcome to your February 2019 reading. My name is Melanie. This is a general reading for whoever is watching it, so it may or may not resonate. I just encourage you to take what you like and leave the rest. If you enjoy it, you know what to do. Today I'm using two different decks of cards, the details of which I'll leave below after the reading. I use the Tattoo Tarot Ink and Intuition deck, of which you can see the 5 cards there. I also use another deck, more like oracle cards, from a set called the Dreamtime Reading Cards. Dreamtime is the Aboriginal Australian spiritual belief system, and there's one card there from that deck representing the overall theme for the month of February for Cancer. So let's just dive right in. So there's 5 cards for you guys. The first card representing past energy, past situation. You guys have the Knave of Cups, otherwise known as the Page of Cups, moving into the present, February 2019 for Cancers. The current kind of issues coming out this month, the 7 of Cups card showed up for you guys. Possible obstacles that may present themselves this month for Cancers, the World card. Possible helpful tools for Cancers this month, the Justice card, and finally the outcome card for the month of February for Cancer, the King of Wands. And that overall theme card from that Dreamtime reading deck, what came out for you guys was a card called Butterfly, and that represents beauty. And I'll be reading from the booklet about these cards at the end of the reading, which just sort of goes into more detail about the meaning of each card. They're such beautiful cards visually, and I really love the meanings behind them as well. So, starting with the past, and where you guys may have been, what you've been working on, what came up for Cancers in the past, the Knave or the Page of Cups. So knaves or pages are young energy, sometimes an actual young person, a child or a teenager, and all the kind of youthful, beautiful energy that comes along with youth. The Knave of Cups could actually be a child in your life, a water sign child, so that would be water signs Cancer, Pisces and Scorpio, or someone who represents someone who has the energies of this card. But this card, pages are about messages received as well. It's a card about being in touch with your inner child, needing to listen to your inner voice, filling basic needs, playing and having fun, following dreams, being in that imaginative childlike state, very youthful, can be quite affectionate and friendly. Also a card of reflection, studying, learning new things, but that young energy, although bright and exciting and sort of looking at the world through a wide-eyed view, also just having not much experience in the world and kind of very much the learning and early stage of something. The Page or the Knave of Cups is also about sort of being drawn to sort of arty things, creative things, magic, meditation, and messages from the universe in some way coming towards you, and developing good ideas, potentially being a little bit, if you are doing any kind of self-reflection or meditation or study or learning new things, feeling quite connected and tuned into that, and almost a little bit psychic at times. So, but basically it's a card, I think, about youthful energy, being in touch with that, having lots of fun, being very playful, being quite inexperienced with something, but just kind of going out there anyway, in an attempt to sort of take on the world and learn new things, even if you don't quite know what you're doing. But also, I don't know, there was something that possibly came in that invited you to do this, or there was a message of, hey, come with me and let's go and have fun together, or some opportunity to open that up in an area of your life, some sort of hobby or creative endeavour, which got you back in touch with that really awesome childlike energy, when you discover something new and you just want to dive yourself right into it. This is my new hobby, or this is my new best friend, or really lovely. Moving into the current month, February, for Cancer, that card that came through for you is the Seven of Cups. So this is an interesting card right next to the Knave of Cups, because the Seven of Cups is a card of wishful thinking, of being a real dreamer. Can be a card of fantasy and illusion, pipe dreams, where nothing is sort of what it seems, daydreams, choices, having a lot of choices, and needing to decide which dreams you're going to pursue or not, and having to come to a choice. But then maybe this is the cups suit, so lots of feelings and emotions involved, and perhaps being a little bit too emotional in making a choice and not being rational or analytical enough. It can suggest a choice. You're going to have to make a choice whether you anticipated that or not. You may kind of feel like the choices that are offered to you, none of them are really that great. So it's like choosing between a rock and a hard place, and maybe resisting that. Choices are opportunities and new doorways and new paths opening up, but there is a sense with this card that you didn't really expect that, and you're still a little bit in la la land, in that kind of fantasy, delusional, daydreamy state, which to me is quite childlike. Using your imagination, thinking, yeah, it's all going to work out anyway, I don't really want to decide, I'm just going to avoid that. And avoidance of making a decision is still making a decision. So there is some choices being presented to you, it looks like, in the month of February, but they're all a little average. It's unexpected. You're getting a little bit caught up in wishful thinking, and daydreams. It's still a relatively positive, happy card, but you're going to need to decide fundamentally which dreams you want to pursue. If you have taken up a hobby or a pursuit or some sort of line of work that was more in line with who you were as, say, a child or an adolescent or a lot younger, that feels like that was more you, and you've kind of gotten back in touch with that, and maybe you're like, you know what, maybe I actually really want to pursue this. But are you a little bit delusional about how that's actually going to work out when it bangs up against real life? Because then we come into the third card in your reading this month, Cancer, and that's the World card in the position of obstacles that may present this month. The World card is the last card of the major arcana, so it represents the end of a journey, end of a long journey. It's a card of success, of accomplishment, completion, closure, victory, integration, conclusion. The world is your oyster, luck being on your side. This is really a fantastic, prosperous card, that reminding you that kind of all things are possible, and there's always bigger forces at work in our world around us in the universe, but ultimately this is a card of coming to the end of a journey, the cyclic nature of life, and now you've kind of come back around. But this is in the position of potential obstacles this month, and again there's this theme I'm seeing now from the past, wafting into the month of February, of this really childlike energy. And I think with the World card, and the saying, the world is your oyster, and I think as children, when we're children, we see the world that way. The world might be big and overwhelming, but it's also full of endless possibilities, because we've got no idea what's really out there, and we tend to only see the good stuff. We don't have that kind of emotional maturity yet, or the unfortunate experience to know that shit doesn't always go your way. So in the obstacle position, this card can suggest that you might be feeling a bit like, I want everything to go my way, I just want to be at the top of the world. I want to be at the end of that journey. I don't want to have to put up with any of that crap in between. But, I just want to get to that end point. I want the victory, but I don't want to have to do the hard work. I don't want to have to grow up, you know, I don't want to have to make the hard choices. So you may be really resisting that and wanting everything just to be perfect and fine and dandy. And it's not always going to be that way. I'm not saying you have to be pessimistic and anticipate the worst, but you have to be realistic. And I think that's having that mature perspective coming into play there, where you guys perhaps have still been a little bit childish or childlike, or, you know, very youthful and kind of frivolous in some way. So just be very mindful of your own resistance to do a bit of the hard work, to grow up a little bit, to make some difficult choices, because it looks like there are some choices coming up for you guys this month. There may be some logistical issues that you're going to have to deal with, which you're like, oh man, I don't want to have to think about that. You know, it's like when you're a kid and your family are taking you on holiday and you don't even think about packing, you don't think about the car travel involved or the, you know, air travel involved or the tickets or the costs or the food or anything like that, or you just want to just have a damn good time, just take me to the pool, I just want to have fun with my friends kind of thing. Whereas you're actually an adult now and in order to get to that place you got to do the hard work. Whether it's actually physically work, save some money, make plans, you know, make some, come to some grown up decisions around things. So just be very mindful of that tendency to want to avoid some of that. Moving into what may be useful, some helpful tools this month for Cancers in the month of February, the Justice card. Interesting, because this is like really different energy, I think, to the 3 cards before. Justice will be served. You know, this is a card of balance, of cause and effect, you know, of karma, of the truth coming out. You get what you deserve, of needing to take responsibility for oneself. And I think that's really interesting given what I've already been talking about and what these cards have been showing us, that perhaps you haven't wanted to take responsibility for certain things in your life, kind of as children do. You know, I don't want to have to deal with that. That's a grown-up decision. I don't want to have to face that consequence. We all have to face consequences though, you know, good and bad. So again, this is a card about choices and needing to make an important choice that may well have long-term consequences. This is a card about the truth, the search for the truth being known, things always coming to light. You can't hide from the truth. Things that have been you know, if you've been wronged in the past, or if you've done something wrong in the past, this is about this process now stepping in to right that wrong, and creating balance and sound judgment. This card is really encouraging you to be decisive, to put on your big girl pants or big boy pants, you know, kind of step up there and make a decision about something to restore some sort of balance and point you in a direction for long-term growth and development. I think you will do that because, as we can see with the outcome card there, you've got the King of Wands. King, you know, kings are the leaders, man. They are the mature energy bosses, you know, authority figures. They are the person that makes the ultimate decision, takes responsibility, is very wise, is very protective. This King of Wands, the wands are the suit of, you know, fire, passion, energies, inspiration, creativity and stuff like that. So maybe this is about a creative endeavour of some sort that you've been thinking about or working on. This King of Wands is represents security and stability, intuitive kind of strength, not holding yourself back, being very generous, and a card of sort of real abundance, but with really firm leadership qualities, you know, having a lot of courage, passion, strength, drive, loyalty, you know, good, healthy, productive growth in oneself and one's life. You know, so whether this is a person, an actual person, court cards can represent actual people in your life, whether this is someone who may show up in your life this month who represents these qualities, or these are qualities in you of coming to a real position of maturity. You know, we started with the page, who's the young people in the court, you know, right through to the King. So there's kind of this growth process here in this month of February of you reluctantly, I think, letting go of some things that you really didn't want to, because it always feels so nice and safe and comfortable to be in our little, you know, bubble of like, I just want to be a kid, I don't want to take any responsibility, I don't want to make any of the big choices out there. You kind of have to, and you're going to be presented with some things this month which I think are going to force you to make some decisions. It looks like, though, by the end of the month you do come to some good decisions and step into sort of a growth, a mature leadership position within yourself and your life, with a lot of kind of strength, and you stop holding yourself back with this kind of childlike naivety that you may have been holding on to, you know, and then you'll step into a much more generous and grounded and passionate kind of energy, of real vibrance. The King of Wands is such a vibrant, glorious kind of energy too. And finally, just talking about the card here representing the overall theme for the month, from the Dreamtime Reading Cards deck. Excuse me. You guys have the butterfly card representing beauty. I also think of butterflies as transformation, so that makes sense, I think, in terms of this journey this month for you guys, a real transformation into some growth and maturity. But we'll see what the little booklet says about butterfly and beauty. Butterflies come in a variety of sizes and a rainbow of endless colours. They are often seen as representing transformation. Duh. A butterfly begins its life as an egg, which hatches into a caterpillar. The caterpillar, oh man, this is perfect. The caterpillar eventually becomes a cocoon, and finally, after spending time as a chrysalis, it emerges so different and almost unrecognisable from the caterpillar it was before its wings were formed. That, to me, that is amazing. Just sums up this reading, going from a little egg, you know, in a cocoon, which becomes a caterpillar, you know, breaking out of that cocoon, spending time as a chrysalis, like a young kind of unformed butterfly, and then emerging into a mature, beautiful butterfly, which to me is you starting with the Knave of Cups, that little butterfly egg, emerging into a beautiful butterfly there with the King of Wands. Perfect. So it's for this reason that the butterfly card also represents the beauty and freedom that can occur when you trust in the process of change. Hello, I think this reading is exactly talking about that. As a reward for the time it spent in the darkness of the cocoon, the butterfly emerges with wings and the gifts of beauty, flight, and freedom. The butterfly inspires you to trust that there is beauty to be found in times of great change. If you have been struggling, understand that part of the process of transformation is to be tested. I think there is a bit of that coming up this month. So the butterfly offers hope and reminds you that it must endure the darkness of the chrysalis in order to find its true purpose, fun and innocence. So don't forget that fun and innocence that childlike energy brings with it, hey? The butterfly promises a special time of intimacy and joy. The butterfly's appearance gives you a reason to smile. If you see a pair of butterflies dancing together, this can often indicate that a new friendship or a new love is on its way. Wow, I just think that's almost magical, and how that ties in with this reading. You know, Cancer, I think this is going to be a month of real growth for you guys, even though you're wanting to perhaps avoid and resist that a little bit. You will grow and progress and mature, but you don't ever have to let go of that fun, innocent, wide-eyed energy of that inner child. Don't ever, just because we grow up and we become kings and queens, we are all still little people inside, you know, and it's so important to still stay tuned into that and tapped into that. Just don't let that little person run the show. I think that's essentially what this reading is all about. So, Cancer, thank you so much for watching and listening to this reading. I'm very grateful you've given it your time and attention. If you liked it, you know what to do. Have a fabulous February, and hopefully I'll see you back in March.